Bonjour, Madame et Messieurs. This is your Captain, Murky Aviation, and today I'm going to be flying with Air France. Well, technically, I'm going to be revisiting the airline. Yes, this will be my first Air France video on this channel, even though I've already flown on them before. Last time I touched them was 2016, where I flew on their underpowered Airbus A340-300 out of Lagos to its hub, Paris Charles de Gaulle. And from my experience I had with them, long story short, their plane was loud, their seats were and so was their IFE. However, the only two highlights I had was that my sleep was sexy and so was their food. No, seriously, their food was absolutely banging. I'm telling you, I wish I had a lot to explain, but for real, it was... Anyways, I'm going to be flying over to Paris and back. No connections because I haven't been to the city itself and would love to see what the city is all about, especially when a lot of people have been hyping this place up. Also, I'll be flying on their new Airbus A220, formerly known as the Bombardier C series. I've been wanting to fly on this aircraft for a while, especially after hearing some good news about its interior and its performance. So without no further waffling, let's get straight into it. So my journey begins at Terminal 1, which is where Air France departs out of with Triumph Flair, Etihad, KLM, Swiss, Turkish, and just to name a few. After passing through security, it is time for me to head over to the gates to chill before my flight begins to board. My flight will be departing at 5 minutes past 6 as flight 1017 at gate 224, which only takes around a 4-minute walk. Air France has 36 of their A220s in their fleet, with 9 parked for maintenance and 27 currently in service. One of which will be taking me out to Paris, being Foxtrot Hotel Papa November Charlie, who had its first flight in June of 2023 and was delivered new to the airline a month later in July of that year, making her 1.2 years of age. Similar to Queer Fungus, Air France names the aircrafts after towns, villages, and cities in France. So this one is Gaillac, which is a town located between Toulouse, Albi, and Montauban, with a population of over 14,000 inhabitants, which are called Gaillacois. This town is located in a Tarn department given by the River Tarn flowing past it. Boarding has begun, which means it is time to get inside this aircraft. After greeting the lovely cabin crew, it is time to sit at my chosen seat at the front section. First impressions, I do have to say that the legroom is looking absolutely stunning, especially when I stretch out. In front of me there is a
cup holder, tray table, adjustable. You get a holder for your tablet and your phone.
Panel above my head, there is a blowable air vent and a reading lamp. Sitting at 5F guarantees a stunning view of the Pratt & Whitney PW1500 geared turbofan engines outside the window. But not only that, I was blessed with 2 windows.
Those windows.
Within the seat pocket there is a safety card and a vomit bag in case anyone has motion sickness. Seat comfort is impressive. It has good padding and is also equipped with the foldable headrest. On the right side of the seat, it also features a coat hook so you can hang up your hoodie or your jacket. Another thing about the A220 that differs between certain 737s and A320s is the fact that it has 2 USB ports to charge any of your devices. Anyways, time to push back and make our way out to the runway.
Les démonstrations de sécurité vont commencer. Veuillez retirer vos écouteurs.
And open all window blinds. Members of the cabin crew wearing a red badge are responsible for your safety.
En cas d'évacuation, des ballons lumineux vous permettent de localiser les issues de secours. Repérez le panneau le plus proche de votre siège. Il peut se trouver dans...
cruising at 31,000 feet with service starting, where I got myself a Gillette Breton cookie and a cup of OJ. And I do have to say, it actually tastes good. It reminds me of the shortbread biscuits, but more buttery. As we are airborne, it is time for me to try out the in-flight entertainment on our devices, as there is Wi-Fi on board. Here are the Wi-Fi options shown, where you can buy the Message Pass for free of charge, Surf Pass for €7, and Streams Pass for €18, which I'm not going to indulge in buying given how steep it is, especially for an hour-long flight. So I went for the Surf Pass option and purchased it by using my booking reference number and then logging in through Flying Blue. Now, I didn't test the speed of the Wi-Fi, but I do know it works well with third-party apps like Instagram and YouTube. Loading times can be slow using this option, so if you want faster reception, go for the Stream Pass, or if not, you can just go on Flightradar 24 to track your flight just like I did. I also tested to see if this device holder can fit my 11-inch iPad Pro, and it did with great ease. I was only able to play 8-ball pool, albeit without Wi-Fi, as I'm only allowed to connect it and pay with only one device. Hopefully I won't have to deal with that, as Starlink are adding free Wi-Fi to the airline. Now it is time for us to start our descent down to the capital, so I'll see you lot after touchdown. Bienvenue à Paris-Charles de Gaulle with a flight time of 1 hour and 19 minutes. Not gonna lie, it has been 8 years since I last went to this airport. Seeing many Air France planes, whether wide body or narrow body, on the ground brings back so much memories. Anyhow, first flight went smooth. I don't want to share too much about my Air France experience just yet, as it is too early for that. However, I do have to say that the A220 is hands down better than the A320 and the 737. I like the quietness of these howling Pratt & Whitney engines and its comfortable spacious cabin, which gives me the feeling of flying on a wide body, albeit still a narrow body. Anyways, as we have already touched down and taxied to the gate, we had to sit for a while to wait for ground crew to set up our deplaning process, which I'm not too stressed about as I have a lot of time on my hands. I was supposed to go to the Air Museum at Le Bourget Airport, however applying there was jarring as I couldn't get past the postcode, even though I've already filled in the correct figures. It's just for some odd reason it just doesn't want to take it. Anyways, Paris Air Show is just around the corner as I've already applied for it, which I am super buzzed about. With that being said, it is time to deplane and head to the city to climb the Eiffel Tower.
We are at Champ de Mars, Eiffel Tower. Oh, look at it, look at it. Up there, right in front of me. Right in freaking front of me, man. The architecture that was supposed to be abolished, well, didn't turn out to be the case. Damn! I feel like morning is the best time. To go in the afternoon. Long day, bro. No chance I'm never gonna see the tower close up. Bro, look at how big this yoke is. They still have the Olympic sign on. Still got the Olympic sign, like I said. Look at Jesus. Alright, so here I am underneath the tower. Damn. Nah, look at it, bro. That looks absolutely stunning. No joke, bro. No joke. Looks like it's gonna protect me in the Irish rain, you know. Alright, so got a combined stairs and lift ticket, so it is time to make my journey out up to the top. Let's see, cool. Alright. Let the journey begin. Alright, I'm gonna take as much time as I possibly can, given how massive that tower really is. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see. Could be light work, you never know. I haven't even counted the steps. I can see the view is actually becoming more obvious now. Holy.
Here I have made it to the first floor where I caught some views of the volleyball stadium. Because my climb to the first floor combined with the weather made me hot, I've decided to take off my hoodie for the remainder of the journey. This floor has an Olympic sign shown from behind, as well as the souvenir shop where you can browse and buy Paris merchandise such as the Eiffel Tower snow globes and models of different sizes like this one.
49er. That's crazy.
Look at one.
I won't lie, this looks cool though. Come on. I don't know how you guys be breaking it. So imagine I come in and I'm scared of heights.
Now, it is time for me to head upstairs to the second floor, which took me a little while.
And here we have it. Second floor, baby.
And here are more views of the volleyball stadium along with the rest of the city shown down below. I did spend some time at the second floor until I waited at the long queue for 20 to 30 minutes. During that time, I was listening to music until we got to the elevator all the way up to the summit. And bro, the views were amazing from above. I climbed up another flight of stairs to try and get more views from outside. Here is what the summit looks like from the inside, and where you can find a waxed antique of Gustav Eiffel and his other mates. The views down below give me the illusion of them looking like toys, especially this train down below, where it looks like a model train set. Soon it is time for us to head down to the ground floor and to the next tourist attraction being Arc de Triomphe. I got there by bike because I'm not bothered to take a bus, but the roads were bumpy as when riding, and the steering of the bike itself was way too sensitive. It would be great for me to get to the top of it, but honestly I'm not bothered to do it because 1, I'm not willing to spend my money on it, 2, the busy roads make it risky, and 3, the queue makes it time consuming, especially when I have other places to go to. After getting what I needed to get on camera, I next cycled my way over to my last attraction.
Alright, so it's time for me to cut and head over to the last spot, which is the Louvre, the glass pyramid, with all the arts and stuff inside.
Here I am, finally at the Louvre after a 15-minute bike journey. I only spent majority of my time outside for a little while. Alright, time for me to head back to the terminal through a stinky sewer stench inside the train station.
Smells like the sewers, bro.
As I got off the train, I printed out my physical boarding pass from the kiosk and continued on walking towards the terminal to get to airside through security.
Alright, so I finally made it past security. It was very smooth. I didn't really have any problem, except for the fact that I was supposed to put my boarding pass inside my bag, but that's minor. Anyways, I'm gonna head on to the lounge, the Salon Lounge, which is Air France's own lounge. Let's head directly to it.
As I approached the entrance of the Salon Lounge, I was met with a banner showing Air France and the rest of the Sky Team members that are allowed to use this lounge and its partner airlines. Entering the lounge, we encounter salads, breads, potatoes, vegetables and appetizers such as brownies. Panning my camera around, we can see that there are places to sit despite it being busy. On the other table, you will find other beverages to drink such as alcohol, glass cups to serve those drinks, and other snacks such as the Gillette Breton biscuits, which I took recently on my first flight there. Because I was really hungry, I decided to dive straight in and serve myself a plate of appetizers and another plate of chicken and turkey with veggies. Now, time for me to feast. As I chilled at the lounge for a bit, I encountered both flights leaving out of Dublin to Paris.
My flight's just departed out of my hub. And guess who is also departing? Saint Unan. My ride that took me to Manchester. That one's also going to Paris Strasbourg too, so it's a race between the two of them to see who gets there first. And I guarantee that this one is going to make it first, 100%. I think they both took off at the exact same time.
It is time for me to leave the lounge and head to the gate. Not gonna lie, it has been a while since I last been to this concourse. Last time I went was downstairs waiting to board my CityJet flight back home. And now that time has changed, we don't see much of Air France's quad-engine jets either taxiing around at the gates or parked, as most of them are retired in favour of the 350s, 777s and midliners. Quick update, Queer Fungus has won the Dublin to Paris race as it operates out of Terminal 1, giving it the advantage to use the north runway for its arrival, whereas my ride was using the south runway whilst getting in line behind the Delta 767. My second A220 that will be taking me back home will be Foxtrot Hotel Zulu Uniform Romeo, who had its first flight in November of 2022. Making it 1.7 years of age at the time of the recording. The name of this one is Collier, which is a town in the southern French department of Pyrenees Orientales located on the Vermilion coast. Now time to board our flight. And here I enter the aircraft once again, but this time I'll be sitting at my reserved seat 22F, where I got a stunning wing view outside. Because I've already showed the seats, I'm going to send you guys over to the cinematics. So I'll see you lot when I'm airborne. airborne at 38,000 feet, where I explore the A220 a little bit more by taking a look at the cabin, where you can see that it is at a 2-3 configuration layout. 2 on the left, 3 on the right, which is common on the Fokker F-28, 70 and 100, the Mad Dogs and the Sukhoi Superjet 100. Next I head inside the lavatory. Regardless of it being messy, it does have a lot of room to work with. You got a hand wash beside a wash hand basin, a mirror and a beautiful, spacious headroom. There is also a place to change your baby, a coat hook to hang up your hoodie or fleece, and yeah, that's it. Time to head back to my seats. There is an in-flight magazine where you can take it in physical form, found in both the lounge and gates or the Air France press app. With service starting, we were given one of the 2 free options of sandwiches, being chicken and cheese. I chose the chicken option because, you know, I'm black.
Alright, taste test. This is the chicken option. 3, 2, 1, let's go. It's actually not too bad. I won't lie.
Upon eating this chicken back, I do have to say it actually tastes good. It has a bit of a creamy taste on the inside of it, which makes this appetizing.
Got myself a nice apple juice. Cheers. This won't be enough to fill up my belly. We're gonna take it. Stunner.
I next took out my iPad, bought and connected to the SurfPass Wi-Fi and tapped into Flight Radar 24 to check the progress of our flights. Later on, I got seconds taking the cheese option, and yeah, the chicken was better. Checking back in on Flight Radar once again, where we have begun our descent over the west of the UK. The captain did notify us about the potential winds at Dublin, and even when looking at the weather information, you can see the wind direction is at 200 degrees and the speed is at 70 knots with possible wind gusts of 35 knots, I assume. The plane had to deal with the sudden drop.
There it is, the drop is there.
And some gun leanings like this. Not gonna lie, I was shook. Like the way the turbulence of these dense clouds were throwing us around, it felt like an adrenaline hit. I was really having fun because I wanted more, like, let me have it. As we were fighting through these gusty clouds, I noticed that the gear didn't go down, as in I didn't even hear the sound of it until we were near enough on final approach to the runway. But it only lasted until the pilots aborted the approach altogether, which was a good decision given how strong these winds were. I have never had it go around throughout my travel experience, so it is fun to have that procedure performed on my second A220 flight. So as we make a gradual turn out to the Irish Sea, I encountered the city of Dublin down below, which looks absolutely stunning in the dark.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain. As you've seen, we have gone around due to the strong wind in Berlin. We were doing too fast. Now in 5 minutes, a new approach. Thank you for your patience.
Now we enter round 2, where the pilots went all in with the approach by starting off by putting down the gear first. And next, it is time for the pilots to cook by hustling and bustling through these windy b****s, all while hearing the PTU sounds. It got a bit intense at final approach when the wind gave a bit of a 1-2 jab to the aircraft. The pilots managed to prevail through, and we finally Ryanair slammed our way down to the ground with a round of applause. And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, back home at Dublin with a flight time of 1 hour and 37 minutes. I have enjoyed Paris, even though it's not much of a hype in my opinion. It was a thrill climbing up the Eiffel Tower and taking a look at the other 2 tourist attractions, despite not going to Le Bourget airport and spotting the Paris Charles de Gaulle, which requires a permit to do that. Otherwise, it was a dope experience. As with Air France, they never disappoint. No, seriously, the staff were amazing on both flights. The seats of their A220 were comfortable on board, with the headrests, seats comfort, the generous device holder, 2 USB ports, and the Wi-Fi. The food was savage, both on board and back on the ground, where in the lounge, you can find a good variety of food to choose from compared to Queer Fungus's Dead Lounge back home. The staff were welcoming and they showed great professionalism in service throughout my experience. Overall, I enjoyed Air France as a whole and would love to fly with them again at some point. Maybe in a Paris Air Show. Guess we'll find out in due time. I'm rating this overall experience a 9 out of 10. Anyways, it's been your Captain Murky Aviation here. Please be sure to like this video, right there, slam that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified to more of my uploads, and I'll see you lot in the next one. Take care.